Welcome to the bright side of aging. My name is Ike Engelbaum. I'm a pharmacist and the publisher of the American Senior Gazette newspaper. It has been wisely said, you cannot help getting older, but you can help getting old. And also, there is a great saying that says that age is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. My purpose in doing this show is so that seniors and caregivers can share their ideas, questions on how we can age gracefully and in a vertical position for as long as our good genes will allow. And if we have inherited bad genes, how to outwit them. Our topics range from senior housing options, financial, legal, safety, travel, health issues, interesting senior events in the community, and most of all, tips on how to put old on hold. One of the ways, of course, is to know what you are dealing with. When I give talks in the community, I always stress the importance of knowing what your symptoms are. And avoiding them is really a road to disaster. My first guest today is Steve Veras. And if he looks familiar, you may have seen him at one of the Project Healthy Living centers. Actually, they did a whole series, and he was involved in about 54 sites. Those are those screenings that you always hear about near the end of March and goes through the middle of May, where they go out to different malls and different community centers and some schools as well, and do some really legitimate health screenings that mean whether you are going to possibly encounter a problem. And Steve is knowledgeable in the various states, and we're going to get into the various approaches that he does that. First of all, welcome to the program, Steve.
Thank you, Ike. It's a pleasure to be here.
And tell the folks a little about your background. You are the founder of Metro Health Services, right?
Yes, Ike, we founded Metropolitan Health Service as a result of our health work in the community. Mm-hmm. We have been working with our community since 1985, providing mobile screening services to the public. And the beautiful thing about our services is we focus on prevention. We focus on screening in order to help people to assess their actual symptoms and needs, and then we take a preventative approach to solving their health problems.
So the tests that you do actually are normally done in hospital settings,
yes,
but at a considerably higher price, and it's no secret that when you go in for a screening in a hospital-type setting, in defense of the hospital, they have to cover their overhead, and you are able to offer these screenings at a substantial discount. Is that correct?
Yes, what we've done with Metropolitan Health Services, we formed a nonprofit organization where that we work on a sliding scale for community residents and the public. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we go on site and we have our professionals that offer very advanced screening services, which cover 4 areas. The first area is we cover heart attack and stroke risk assessment. This is where we look at the vessels of the individuals, either by ultrasound or by what's called cardio score. It's a non-invasive test that can measure the occlusion or the blockage in the arteries. And then, of course, we look at various lifestyle factors. We look at the issue of stress. We do a stress profile in order to see if their stress is contributing to their problems. And then we have non-invasive procedures that are very advanced, such as EKGs, echocardiograms, Doppler assessment, as well as the looking at the structure of the heart, as well as ankle brachial index, where we look to see if they have blockages in the arteries of the arms and legs to see if they have built up a plaque. And then our premier program is called Cardio Score. And Cardio Score, we use a screening method that's non-invasive, and we can literally look and see if people have buildup or occlusion in their vessels. And then we take a preventative approach where that we advocate diet, exercise, and then of course if they're in an advanced stage of deterioration, then we will refer them to physicians in the area, or sponsoring physicians, or we simply refer them back to their own doctor so that they can get follow-up care if they should choose to do that route.
Now, to summarize the four, you have separate titles for each one.
Yes.
Number one is?
Number one is the heart attack and stroke risk assessment.
Okay.
Number two is the stress profile. It's called the Type D personality. I don't have a lot of time here, but the stress on an individual can directly contribute to the development of heart disease, and so that's one of the major factors in that development. And then of course there's the specific tests that we do, those non-invasive ones I just talked with you about. And then of course at the end of that, the fourth area is we look at their lifestyle. We look and say, okay, are you not just smoking and drinking, but other types of issues of lifestyle that contribute to the disease process.
Then the person that comes can actually take those results to their own doctor.
Yes, yes.
And it's not just the frivolous type report. The doctor's...
No, it is a complete report that we do, and of course we follow, of course, all of the industry standards, and we're even more meticulous because we take longer, because we're not putting them through the mill, as it were. We're interested in each person, and we spend extra time. Actually 30 to 45 minutes with each person that comes through, because our interest is the person, not just getting a tick or a score or whatever.
Right.
We care about the people, and that's why we do it this way.
Right, and in fact we got to know each
Yes.
other back in the old days.
Yes.
When the state fair was at 8 Mile and
Yes.
Woodward, right? And
Yes.
boy, we spent some hot days together, I remember.
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting, Ike. The state fair, we did it for over 25 years, and we literally helped thousands and thousands of people to get the health care that they needed. And of course, many times we had to send people on to the hospital or directly to
Yes.
their doctor because they had life-threatening conditions.
Right, so you can honestly say you've really
we
saved
literally,
lives.
like working with Project Healthy Living, there's not a day goes by that we don't have to send someone either to the emergency room or directly to their doctor because they have either out of control high blood pressure, sometimes they may even have an aneurysm on their aorta that could burst any moment, and so we send them on. So we feel we're doing the world a real service.
Well, actually, I was very impressed, and I'm so glad you're available to discuss this because, unfortunately, a lot of seniors especially outlive their doctor.
Yes.
And they're reluctant to find a replacement physician, and they figure, well, maybe I can just sort of scoot by life without hearing any bad news. And the sad part is that by avoiding really knowing what's going on, many times people are not aware as to how close they are to possibly having a real setback in their life. And with your screenings, and they're really a fraction of the cost of a hospital, and obviously if they get the same results, the patients would benefit from it. And I was very impressed. You went to 54 different, is that what the
Yes.
location, 54 different locations?
Yes, and they were large locations, but we were even in some of the local churches in the area,
Right.
because our target is the people, and frequently there's that level of society that have no health care. They don't get any. They don't have insurance, and we serve all different groups of people. We're just not simply targeting the uninsured, but the uninsured, are some of the people that we serve.
Right. Well, I mean, if anyone is interested, they can certainly get us through AmericanSeniorGazette.org, or we have a toll-free number, 888-489-8980. But also Metropolitan Health Services, you have a website as well?
Yes, it's metropolitanhealthservices.org. And we have a list of all of our services as well as natural products that can be used to, to bring the natural healing that you need, as well as we offer follow-up programs to the people that are free, that are offered by various community resources that have a focus on prevention. Also, we have a phone number that you can call. It's area code 734-270-2469. So please feel free to do that. But our website is pretty complete. And of course, we're partnering with you today.
Right. Well, that's great. I also was going to suggest that anybody that's affiliated with a hospital or a community center can get a hold of us that way. And I know from your connections, as well as my connections as a pharmacist, that if anyone is interested in having a doctor follow up, they can certainly contact their local hospital. Now it seems almost every hour on the hour, one of the major hospitals advertising the fact that they do have a directory of physicians, and that's really a good option. And the good news is that these are legitimate types of programs that you can make available to almost any community. Steve Veras, it's been a delight to have you here, and we'll get in touch with one another. Right now, our interview for this session is over. We have another dynamic guest coming right back, so don't go away.
Orion Township presents Barn Days on Saturday, September 8th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Gather up the family and bring them down to Friendship Park to enjoy games, a petting farm, pony rides, food, and fun. Pick up some farm fresh produce at the farmer's market or take part in the Chamber Chili Challenge. Hop on board a hayride, but keep your head low because you just might encounter some Yankees and rebels who don't realize the Civil War is over. Mark it down on your calendar, Barn Days, Saturday, September 8th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Friendship Park. Cost is only $5 per car. For more information, contact Orion Township Community Programs by calling 248-391-0304, extension 305, or visit www.oriontownship.org.
Hello, I'm Mike Bouchard, the Oakland County Sheriff. There's a big problem that faces all the communities in America today, and that's abuse of legitimate prescription drugs. Sometimes they're left in the home when a loved one passes away, or they're in the medicine cabinet for someone else, and a youngster in the home steals it and they abuse it. It's one of the fastest growing drug abuses that we see in our community and across the country. Secondly, we see these drugs oftentimes when they're no longer utilized being flushed down the drain, and we're seeing higher levels of residual pharmaceuticals in our waterways and our streams. So, to solve two problems with one effort, we partnered with Home Instead Senior Care to start a program called Operation Medicine Cabinet to get those drugs out of the homes, out of the hands of youngsters, and out of the waterway, and safely and environmentally destroy them. Learn more about the program at OperationMedicineCabinetMI.com and be part of the solution. Thank you.
And we are back, and as promised, I have a dynamic young man with me who I've known for umpteen years, and you're going to have to figure out what umpteen means. He's a wonderful guy, and he's been involved in the healthcare field for most of his professional career. It may have been how many years now, Greg Adair?
Well, you know, I have been involved in healthcare. Well, I founded Affordable Home Care in 1989 and ran nursing homes for 10 years prior to that. And, you know, that was the era that we had met first. So a long time now, kicking around.
Right. Well, you are to be commended. I met your wonderful son, Austin. He is really one of those young, special people that is way beyond his years.
Oh boy, that's a fact. You know, he's drugged me into this century technology-wise, and I am grateful for that for sure.
Right. Well, you know, in fact, you and I are working on the whole concept of telehealth, which I'm really excited about, because talk about technology, we can now do the blood pressure, glucose monitoring, weight management over the phone lines, and affordable home care, which is really well situated. I am so happy that you're right at 12 Mile near Orchard Lake Road, because that's not too far from where I live. And you've actually seen all the changes that are going on now, and when you analyze it, I don't have to tell you, that's why you're in affordable home care, and that is people want to be in their own homes.
Well, that's so true. You know, the statistics say 89% of folks out there really want to stay in their own home. They don't want to be in an institution. That's why affordable home care exists. And that's why telehealth is so important, because those are the technological tools that make it possible for a person to stay in their own home where they want to be.
Right. Well, now, how far an area do you send your people out?
Well, we're rather unique in that we can provide services all through Southeast Michigan, primarily for our live-in services, that is, one person staying day and night around the clock. It's a very unusual service that we offer. But on an hourly basis, you know, we're in the 3 major counties around Detroit.
And the nice thing about it, too, is that it's not a matter of just sending out someone that may hold hands, so to speak, with a patient. You get involved with the additional services and having someone that can go out and do housekeeping, help in even in the transportation part. Is that correct?
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Well, you know, an extra pair of hands in the home can make all the difference between whether a person can stay in their home or they have to go into an institutional setting. And that's why I created affordable home care, so that people could stay in their familiar, their secure setting at home. And it's especially important for people who have dementia. You know, that's real tough being in an unfamiliar place.
Right. Well, they found that many times having pictures and the environment as closest to what the person is used to probably has more therapeutic benefits than a lot of the other new techniques in approaching and dealing with dementia-type patients. I just wondered, after all these years, can you share with us what are some of the challenges families face?
Well, you know, families often find themselves waiting much too long before they make the decision to get the information that they need. In fact, it usually comes down to one sibling making the major decisions in the family, and a lot of friction typically occurs around that because quite often, and actually 22% of the time, families, caregivers actually have to quit their jobs in order to take care of a loved one. So, you know, and that really stresses the relationships in several ways. So my suggestion is that people communicate with family early and often. And another thing is the financial side of things. People should really be considering the long-term care insurance products that are out there now. Don't rely on the state to provide care for you, because your options really, really shrink very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Now, the name Affordable Home Care tells the whole story, because I know there are a lot of different agencies out there, and it seems like they're just mushrooming all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest for someone who's considering getting a home care agency? Who do they check with to screen it, so to speak?
It's a great question, because, you know, it's a huge issue. There are organizations popping up literally weekly, so you do want to be very careful. And what I would suggest to your viewers, don't rely on the hospitals to make that choice for you, because it's usually last-minute kinds of things that you're trying to stitch together. You want to look for companies that are in business at least 5 years. Statistics tell us that 70% of companies are out of business in 5 years. So if they can make it past that, you know, they're doing something right. You should be looking at background checks. How are they checking the people they're hiring? Now, most professional companies are going to do at least a state criminal background check, but that's not enough. You need to really look deeper. We look at things like the county criminal background check. I found that the two law enforcement organizations don't always talk to one another. So we do fingerprinting, drug screening, something most companies don't know about. And I'm trying to teach my colleagues about this, that if a caregiver has worked in a group home, or if they have worked as a certified nurse aide, there are registries that we can check for their disciplinary actions. And that's very important in our decision process. There should be a substantial competency, kind of a testing tool that is being used as well. So
they also, you know, a lot of times, and I'm not diminishing having friends and relatives help you, but I've heard some really nightmare type stories where people don't really hire the friend, but they hire a friend of a friend, and it turns out that they did not really know the dark side of that other individual. So when you're dealing with something as important as taking care of a loved one or someone that's close to you, unfortunately you have to consider that as being more important for the care versus the dollar and cent type saving that you have.
Absolutely, and it's easy to make mistakes in this area, and you don't want to have somebody experimenting with your loved one. You know, you want to make sure it's a credible company. Some of the things that families should be looking at is, are they employees of a company, or are they independent contractors? Lots of problems going on right now around the independent contractor issue. It opens up a whole range of liabilities for families they're not even aware of. They should be looking at a company's website. What's new, better, different about this company versus others that you're researching? Reputation is huge. Look at places like the Better Business Bureau or the Area Agency on Aging in Southfield has a great resource. You can get tons of information about companies. Make sure that you're looking closely to those kinds of things.
Right, well, they're certainly welcome to call our office, which is 888-489-8980, and I can also give them a directory of the various non-profit organizations that work with people that are in need of home care. Plus, we have a free booklet as well if anyone is interested on caregiving tips. We try to be really helpful so that the person can make a wise decision. And what I'm really excited about this whole concept of technology, how it's being used in the healthcare field, and the fact that if they use your services for a length of time, and they may qualify for even having the equipment available from no out-of-pocket expenses.
That's true.
And we're talking doing blood pressure, glucose monitoring, weight management, and even oximetry testing over the phone lines.
Yes.
And it's all wireless,
yes.
So the person can walk around their home and be actually sort of in a ICU type unit without having a lot of strangers around them. So
isn't it a wonderful thing? And you know, it's all about keeping people out of the emergency rooms. That's what our industry is really seeking to do. And this technology that you're talking about, Ike, is the way through that issue for families. They don't have to go to the emergency room if they have the right technology available.
Right. Well, you and I have collaborated in going out to the community, and if there's anyone out there that's interested in having an event where we can bring in some professional speakers and tell the folks about the various health services. And you have a no-fall type program as well?
Absolutely. We are one of the premier providers of the Philips Lifeline. It's called a fall detector, in such that if a person falls, even if they're unconscious, they still get the help they need. And it's so critical because that unfortunately happens a lot.
Right. Well, you know, one of my idols or mentors was George Burns, and he actually, unfortunately, fell in the bathtub, and that was his really demise. And that's such a common problem. And you might explain in short-sleeve English how sophisticated this no-fall program is. How does that work?
Well, you know, I'm not a scientist. All I know is it takes NASA technology that the Philips Lifeline people, they're the same people that, you know, that make light bulbs and everything that's electronic. They take that technology from NASA and have built-in sensors that it knows when a person falls at a certain velocity, that knows if the person is actually wearing the device, and if a person doesn't move, it will make that call out within a couple minutes.
Right. Well, it's unbelievable what technology we have today, and it's been a delight to have you on the air, Greg, and we'll have you on again. Right now, I only have enough time to leave the folks with one of my favorite parting lines, which is, remember, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, and that's why we call it the present.